Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Your Wealth Matters, brought to you by the team of Your Wealth Advisors. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio, we have Ryan Cunningham. He is the founder, and it's so great to be here with you today, Ryan.
Good to be here. Great. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank
Wonderful.
you. And we've got a great show for all of you at home. The title of this episode is From Panic to Peace, the Retirement Risk Challenge. And the question we want to kick off today's show with is, are you taking on too much risk, or conversely, are you playing it too safe when it comes to your hard-earned money for retirement? Well, stick with us because today we're going to introduce you to the challenge that could positively impact and change your retirement for the better. So Ryan, this subject of risk is a massive one.
Absolutely.
I know this is a conversation you have a lot with folks in your offices, so I'm excited to have it today with our viewers. And you've helped countless families discover what their true risk tolerance is, and even more importantly, which we're going to define, is your risk capacity. So as you think about this hard-earned money that you have worked and accumulated throughout your lifetime, how much of that is subject to risk? How much of that could you potentially lose? These are some of the concerns that often keep people up at night with. And so let's just start simple as we dive in here. What exactly is risk tolerance, if you had to define it, and why does it matter so much in this area of retirement planning?
Yeah, risk is something that is everywhere, right? You can't get away from it. But when it comes to financial risk, it's what you can emotionally stand. How much of it can you emotionally stand to either lose or go up? And it is going to measure that volatility or that risk factor of the movement of the market. And so whether you have, as you said earlier, a lot of risk or not enough risk, there's a fine line between the two. And I'm excited about this show and really digging into how it is such a easy thing to figure out, but it is also a crucial thing for everybody to know where they fall on that risk tolerance scale.
Yes, because unfortunately we know situations where folks never adjusted these things. And what's the problem with that?
Yeah, listen, you can be invested in a multitude of ways, but it has to change as your life pattern has changed. Mm-hmm. As I tell clients all the time, look, you can still be in stocks and you can still have risk, but if you're 60 years old, you don't want to have 100% of what you have on a heavy, high-end risk plat. You want to kind of level that out. And what a lot of people don't realize is that number, that risk level has to change as you change in life, whether that's getting closer to retirement or getting ready to do a big purchase or children's weddings or whatever it may be. It's an important factor. And in today's world, it's never been more important.
For sure. And this is not a set it and forget it kind of thing. I think that's where a lot of folks maybe misunderstand this whole concept of risk. So risk tolerance isn't something you figure out one time and then it's done. It has to shift over time. So talk a little bit about what that can look like.
It has to shift based upon the easiest one to figure out is your age, right? We use the rule of 100 for a lot of our clients just because it's a very simple concept and it is very easy to just take it 100 and you subtract out your age. Or if you don't like doing math, whatever age you are, that's the amount that you should have as a percentage of your assets in risk or out of risk, whichever way you want to fall on that spectrum.
Right.
As you age, that risk should start coming down.
Yes.
Right? Because what is the one thing that we're trying to overcome and protect as we age is time.
Yep. Because we no longer have time on our side to make up those losses should the market take a downturn.
Absolutely.
And all we have to do is look back at 2008, and so many folks remember what that was like and how many people's retirements were completely not just derailed, but devastated because they had never adjusted how much risk they were taking.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, risk is in the eye of the beholder, right? At the end of the day, it's what are you comfortable with? We offer a lot of different great tools and a lot of different ideas to kind of throw out there. But I've learned over my time that the easiest way for people to grasp, well, what is my risk level is, well, very easily put for me, how much are you willing to lose?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and what's interesting about that question too is this industry often talks in percentages. So, saying how comfortable would you be with a 20% loss? But then when you put a monetary amount to it,
absolutely,
that's the game changer.
It changes it completely for a lot of folks. I had a client, unfortunately, we've had a few of these clients. They come in and they are aggressive in their portfolios, at least in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
They're aggressive. And we ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what percentage are you okay seeing your account value go down?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they just look at us like, oh, I have no idea.
Right.
Okay, well, let's change that up. What's the dollar amount?
Mm-hmm.
If you have $500,000,
Mm-hmm.
what is the lowest that you're going to be comfortable seeing that number get to when you look at your statements?
Without panicking.
Without panicking.
Yep.
And that's what it ultimately comes down to, is what's your emotional level of comfort with
Mhm.
looking at that number on your piece of paper?
Yep. Well, and for our viewers today, we have a very helpful online interactive assessment that you can utilize completely for free to help you explore some of these questions for yourself. We call it our risk quiz, and you can access it by going to ywriskquiz.com or by scanning that QR code that you see there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Ryan, walk our viewers through, what are they going to learn and what benefit will there be to them going and visiting this site?
Yeah, the number one thing it's going to reveal to you is where do you fall on a scale of 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's going to give you your number to let you know, all right, maybe I'm not as risk tolerant as I thought I was. And then what we can do with that report is you then can come into the office and we'll sit down and look at how you are actually invested and compare it to what the report says.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't align, well, then we then have to have a different conversation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of, well, how do we realign your assets to match what you're comfortable with? Because at the end of the day, what I tell everybody that comes into my office is it's your money.
Mm-hmm.
It's your family. It's your retirement. You need to know what it does and how it works, and you have to be comfortable with it. And there's nothing better than a 3-minute quiz where you can just go through, answer a couple questions, and immediately get a response to let you know, all right, maybe I need to have this looked at.
Yeah, for sure. Because once someone knows their risk tolerance and they go to the quiz and they get their score, what are the next steps that they need to take to make sure that their portfolio and how they're actually currently invested is in sync with what this result showed them?
Yeah, absolutely. The number one thing that they're going to do is they're going to want to schedule a time to come into one of our offices. We are going to actually reach out to you. If you go online and you do this quiz, someone on my team will actually reach out to you and just let you know, hey, we have your report, and we want to make sure that we get it to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to schedule a time to come into the office, we are more than happy and willing to have a free consultation where you come in and you sit down with myself or one of our advisors, and we go through the results of your 3-minute quiz and figure out, does it match how you're invested?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's the important question, because I
Yeah.
know that you have stories of folks who then have come in and they've seen, gosh, we're completely misaligned. This is not in sync at all. Any stories come to mind that kind of illustrate that?
Yeah, the best stories are the ones when it's a husband and a wife.
Mm.
And I can think of one that was pretty recent, actually, where they came in and the husband was very, very aggressive, and the wife was like, wait a minute. I'm not comfortable with this at all.
Which is,
I'm ready for you to stop working
Right.
and us to enjoy our retirement. And if we lose any of this, you're never going to stop working.
Mhm. I was just going to say that God has a sense of humor, because he often puts together two people. One's
Absolutely.
the spender, one's the saver, one's the risk
Yeah,
adverse, one's
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
one who
we
wants
have
to
that
take
in our
risks.
family.
Yep,
Normally Paige is
same
here on the
here.
show with us, and
Yep.
and she is the saver and the researcher, where I am, hey, you only live once,
Mhm.
YOLO,
Yep.
right? As the kids will say. And so I get excited about that. But as you age
Mhm.
and as you get closer to that golden period of life of retirement, you really need to know, all right, well, maybe I need to reel it in some.
Yeah. So what happened with this couple when they came in and met with you?
Yeah,
and you
so
realized that they were on.
it took a little bit of time.
Mhm.
It actually took multiple meetings for the husband to realize, and I think there was a lot that went on behind doors that we didn't get to see, thankfully. But that, you know what, maybe we need to come together and find a middle ground.
Mhm.
And then we went through, and he actually did the quiz finally, and he didn't turn out to be as aggressive and as comforted in that risk tolerance as he was thinking he was. He was
Mhm.
actually more in the middle. And so that allowed us time to walk through, well, here are the options. Here's what it looks like if you do this. And here is why it's important.
Mhm.
Time, as we talk about with everybody, is the number one thing you have to focus in on.
Yes. It's your greatest asset you'll ever have. You want to take advantage of it
That's
for
it.
sure.
And
Well,
it can be taken away from us just like that.
yeah. Absolutely. Well, Ryan, thank you. I know we've got a lot more to get to in this conversation of moving you from panic to peace, but we encourage you, in addition to taking this risk quiz, again, you can access it completely for free, ywriskquiz.com. It will only take you a couple minutes, but that's really just the first step. The main way the team of Your Wealth advisors are going to be able to help and serve you is by you coming in and sitting down, looking at what this means for you, and having them build you your very own complimentary written financial plan. 844-411-3050 is the number to call to schedule yours. Or if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. Stay with us. We've got a lot more to cover on today's conversation so that you can move from panic to peace with your retirement right after this.
Did you know you have a silent partner in your retirement plan? It's Uncle Sam, and he owns a share of every dollar in your traditional IRA or 401k. And he controls the rules, like when you withdraw, or how much you owe, or what about the tax rate that you'll pay. But there may be a better way to take back control. A Roth conversion strategy could reduce your future exposure. You want to see how much the IRS might claim? Scan the QR code on the screen or visit ywtaxes.com to use our free calculator today.
Welcome back to Your Wealth Matters. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Ryan Cunningham, founder of Your Wealth Advisors, and we're so glad you're hanging out with us today. If you're just tuning in, today's episode is all about moving you from panic to peace. We're calling this the Retirement Risk Challenge. And in the first segment, we stress the importance of understanding what your risk tolerance actually is, because unfortunately, most folks think they're invested one way, but then once we peel back the curtain, it's often found, and I know you see this in your office all the time, folks are completely misaligned between how their money is currently being invested and what their financial goals are, and most importantly, how much risk they're comfortable taking.
Absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those lost, I don't want to say lost arts, but really one of those lost pieces of just knowledge. The more you know, the better off you're going to be. And listen, there's a lot of risk in everything that we do. It's
So
figuring
true.
out what you are comfortable with.
Yep, and that's the key, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, in order to quantify this, it's interesting because our industry kind of has some general terms, right? And so when folks take this interactive online assessment, which we encourage you to do, it's completely free for you. We call this our risk quiz. You can access it by going to ywriskquiz.com or by scanning that QR code. It's going to ask some questions and kind of help people understand their own risk profile. But can you define in general terms, how you look at this and what terminology folks need to understand about what that means for them?
Yeah, there's 4 categories, if you will, about risk. The first one is going to be conservative. This is one that's really not interested in a lot of risk, whether you're in a bond portfolio or preservation of your principal, you want to keep that corpus there. It is a very safe, slow and steady almost approach to investing. The second one is going to be more moderate, right? A little bit more balanced growth. Not a whole lot of risk, but you're willing to take some to get that needle to move a little bit quicker. And then there's the growth. This is where most people are. When we're doing these analysis and we're running these reports and we're looking at them with clients, this is where most people think they need to be or are and don't know that they are.
And why is that?
Well, they think that they don't have enough, right? Or they don't have enough time, or they need to get it to a certain number because we've been told so many times through different media outlets and through different resources that you have to have a certain dollar amount in order to be able to retire.
Succeed, right?
Yeah.
Well, and plus I would add too, that's been the mindset while you're working and saving.
For sure.
You should be growth oriented,
For sure.
right? But again, this is where a lot of people don't know that they need to make that shift. So anyway, I didn't mean to interject.
Yeah,
but yes.
no, I think that's 100% correct. And then the last one is aggressive. And this is where you're really just going all out. You're trying
Pedal to
to
the metal.
make up time,
Yes.
is what people are typically telling us when they're in that aggressive state. It's funny when clients come in and they tell us, I'm okay, I'm aggressive, and I know it, I'm okay with it, and then we look at their portfolio, and they're more moderate, they're more balanced, right? And then just the opposite happens as well, where they're like, no, I'm
really conservative.
I'm a conservative investor. I don't like risk. And then we look at their portfolio and we're like, holy smokes, you're just the opposite of that in your portfolio.
Right.
This is something that we really need to level out and make sure that you know how it works and what you're doing.
Right. So we have these 4 general types. Let's talk now a little bit about what investment mixes typically go well and partner up with these profiles?
Yeah, so conservative is going to be the easiest one. This is like a CD, right? You're going to get that slow, steady, set interest rate, maybe some highly rated bonds, but just very low risk of premium loss, right? Or principal loss. Then you're going to get into more of a moderate, balanced look, a little bit of a stock mix. You're going to add some more equity positions into your portfolio, trying to, again, get a little bit of growth, but you're not wanting to get crazy, right? Maybe get a little bit of a different style bond that's got a little bit of risk to it. You're just not quite ready to take it on. Then you can go growth, and growth is going to be more of your blue chip stocks, right? The big name companies out there, your S&P 500s, and you're trying to grow your account value. Obviously, what comes with that comes with time and risk and ups and downs. And then aggressive is really where you're looking at all equity or even some alternative investments that, for the majority of the people that we get the opportunity to deal with, that's not an ideal place to be, right? I tell my clients all the time, look, for me, it's different. Not because I own the business or this, that, and the other, it's because I'm 20 years younger.
Right. Yes. And time is on your side right now.
And, how I'm invested today, is not how I was invested 20 years ago when I first started, right? And it's got to change. And unfortunately, there's two things I think that cause these dilemmas.
Discrepancies.
Yeah.
Right.
Number one is they don't know how to change it. They're in their 401ks or they're in their group plan and they don't know. They don't know how to change it.
They probably don't even know. A lot of times I have found folks don't even have an understanding of how that money is currently being invested.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. Or two, they've just never taken the time or had a resource like our quiz that lets them know, here's where you fall on this scale. And so I think that by us having this unbelievable tool and providing it to everybody gives you that opportunity to almost where it says, listen, there's no more excuses. It's time to take control of your money.
Right.
Because in the event that you don't, guess what's going to happen? Somebody else will.
Yeah.
And that somebody is normally not the somebody you want to take advantage of it. And that comes typically in taxes or in loss or whatever it may be.
Market downturns that you can't control.
Yeah.
You don't want your lifestyle to be subject to what the market may or may not be doing. And I've heard a good analogy recently that I think is appropriate. If you were applying for a job, let's say, and the employer said, well, the first year the salary is going to be $50,000. The next year it might go down to $30,000. We're not sure. The year after that, it might do a little better. Maybe it'll go up to like 35. No one's going to take that job, right? And yet so many people are standing on the precipice of retirement, and that's what they are looking at because they haven't had a plan built for them to show them how they don't have to be completely dependent on all the risk that entails.
Yeah, we call it the Scream Machine. You want to ride, there's a roller coaster in Atlanta at Six Flags of Atlanta or Six Flags of Georgia, and it's called the Scream Machine. And that is what I call the market because when it's up, everybody is loving it. Our hands
Those
are
are the
in
happy
air.
screams,
Yes,
right?
We're excited. We're seeing growth in our account value, and then guess what happens?
What goes up
It
must
goes
come down. Yep.
And then your hands are throwing up in the air for a whole different scenario, and you're now screaming out of anxiety and fear, and you're terrified of, well, what do I do now?
Right.
How do I stop this? But more importantly, how do I make up what I just lost?
Correct. Yep. Well, and that would be a clear case of too aggressive. I'm curious as we wrap up this segment, let's talk about being on the opposite end of the spectrum, being too conservative.
Yeah.
Is that equally a problem for folks?
Absolutely, it's equally a problem. We had a client actually came into the office last month, and she has been in a cash position for the last 3 years.
Wow.
And when we explained to her what the markets have done over the last 3 years
and what
she's done,
right,
and compared the two, even if we went in a conservative model in the market, she's missed out on some growth, but it's more than that. It's you're not even keeping up with inflation. You're not keeping up with the cost of living. Right. Your money is not working. You'd be better off just putting it in your mattress than having it sitting there. So yes, being too risky is one thing, but if you're too conservative and you can't even keep up with the cost of living, well, you've got a whole different problem there too as well.
For sure. Well, what would you say to our viewers who are like, okay, I need to look at this. I don't remember the last time I did an assessment of where I stand, and you're wanting to make sure that your investments are in alignment with how much risk you can actually stomach on that Scream Machine, such a good analogy. What would you say to them?
Yeah, go to ywriskquiz.com and take the 3-minute quiz and figure out where you fall, and then set a time to come into one of our offices and meet with one of our advisors to figure out, well, how can I make what my quiz results say equal how I'm invested? And we would love that opportunity on a free consultation basis to have you come in, sit down with you, and we will answer any questions that you have and make sure that your risk and your portfolios line up.
Wonderful, Ryan. Thank you so much. That number to call to schedule your time to come in and receive your complimentary written financial plan is 844-411-3050. Or again, if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to unpack the emotional effect of market downturns so that you understand how you can stay the course, so that when other ones are panicking, you can stay the course with your plan and receive peace. Stay with us to find out how right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Your Wealth Matters, where today we're inviting you to take the Retirement Risk Challenge. It is so crucial to understand your risk tolerance, your risk capacity, and then take the next step to make sure that how you are invested and how your hard-earned wealth is positioned is in alignment with those two things. We now want to make sure that you can stay the course despite what the markets may or may not be doing. And so that's what we want to talk about now is, I think it can be really hard, Ryan, for folks, even when they have a really well laid out plan, to not let emotions get in the way when the market
100%
takes a downturn, right? And I know you see this. So let's talk about that because you see this. So why is it so hard for folks to stay the course and not panic?
Well, I think that the emotional reaction is a very difficult thing to overcome, right? We are emotionally driven to react in all situations. And when you see your hard-earned money go away, well, that's the tendency to react. And that normal reaction is, well, let me get out of the market. Let me get into cash. And I can't bear this. And that's ultimately the worst thing that you can do is make a reaction move. Right? And so by knowing where you fall on this plot, on this map of risk tolerance, will give you that ability to say, all right, I know that this is my downward fall, right? This is how much I'm willing, and this is how much my portfolio says should go down in the event of a decrease in the market. But if I stay the path, this is what it will look like on the other end. I also think it's important that this is the time that your advisors should be reaching out to you and you should be meeting with your advisors.
And communicating with you,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah, so talk about how you do that for your clients, because I doubt that the phone is ringing off the hook with panic once you've gone through this planning process and been able to help explain what's going on and what folks need to know, right?
Yeah, I think that is one of the most important aspects of working with an advisor is communication, because life is going to throw us curveballs, and you have to have someone that's there working for you on your side. And so as life happens, our clients that have put together these plans and know where they fall on these plots, they know what to expect and they know what they can and can't do. And then what we do as a firm is we then reiterate that to them, where we're calling and we're scheduling those complimentary consultations to come back in for those reviews, or we're just giving you that phone call of assurance that says, hey, you know what, John, you're doing really, really, really well. The good news is we put a plan in place, right? And when the thing settles, it's going to come back, right? Or whatever it may be.
Right.
I can give you, there is one specific client that really comes to mind of risk.
Okay.
And I have fortunately been in this business long enough to remember 2008. And I had this one, they're dear clients, probably some of my oldest clients that I've had working with me. And when 2009 came around, she would not even open the investment statements that came in the mail. And when she did, she would cry. And it got to a point to where she just couldn't bear to look at it because she thought they had safety. She thought they had protection. And every time she opened that statement, guess what? It was going further and further down.
Right. Yep.
And so by the time we finally got to meet with her, it wasn't easy. She had a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress and a lot of turmoil that we had to get through. But eventually, over time, we were able to show her that putting together a proper plan will give her that peace. You know, there's nothing better when the phone is ringing from your clients and they're calling you and thanking you. And she's done that since 2009. Almost every quarter. She calls me and she's like, you know what, Ryan, I just got to thank you. Because without the plan that we put in place, we would not be able to live the life that we live today.
Right.
And to me, there's nothing better than that for this business.
Yep.
Right? And so what I also know is there's the other end of that spectrum where clients are freaking out, right? Or prospects are freaking out, or you're sitting there right now and you're watching the turmoil of the markets go up and go down. You're riding that screen machine.
Right.
And you're wondering, what is my statement going to look like in the mail? Well, take this quiz. Go to ywriskquiz.com and take 3 minutes out of your day and figure out where you're at. And then we want to have an opportunity to sit down with you on a free, complimentary basis to say, okay, here's where you're at. Here's where you should be, but here's where you're at. And then you have the freedom to pick what you get to do from there.
Right. And your job is to lay out the recommendations and say, okay, well, if this really is how much risk you can stomach, maybe we need to do some things differently, tweak it, have that plan in place so that those folks can sleep well at night. I think that's really what you're alluding to, right?
Absolutely.
There's such peace of mind that comes when you have that plan. And so no matter what the markets are doing, you know that you're going to be okay.
Yeah, peace, stress-free retirement.
Yep.
Right? Being able to sleep at night and not having to worry about things that are outside of your control.
Yes.
That is what a great retirement looks like. Getting to enjoy it. I tell people all the time, I would rather you use it than lose it.
Yes. So true.
And that's what it's about.
Well, I am so excited for more folks to connect with you as a result of today's show. So Ryan, thank you so much. Again, we encourage you to go visit ywriskquiz.com, but that's just really the first step. The main way the team of Your Wealth Advisors are going to be able to help and serve you is by you coming in and sitting down and receiving your very own complimentary written financial plan. 844-411-3050 is the number to call to schedule yours. Thanks for watching, and always remember, your wealth matters, and the team of Your Wealth Advisors is here for you. We'll see you next time.